So in this video, we're going to go over the first impressions of owning and taking delivery of a brand new 2022 Model Y. So this is great if you're considering any Tesla. We're going to go over the first impressions, and I'm going to bring in a special guest who just took delivery of his brand new Model Y Performance. We're going to break down everything from the finishes to the acceleration. Let's get right into it. I'd like to introduce my twin brother, Mike, and he recently took his delivery Model Y just recently. Mike, how you doing?
Doing good. Good to be here. And yeah, I've had that Tesla Model Y a couple of weeks now, under 400 miles. So a lot to cover today.
That's fantastic. I appreciate you being here. So again, if you are considering, maybe you have one on order, let's go over the first step of owning a Tesla. So pay attention if you've yet to order or you're thinking about ordering, or like I said, you might have one on delivery. So what was it like for everyone watching? Taking delivery and waiting for delivery. I like to say that kind of one of the downsides of owning a Tesla, one of the few downsides, is waiting for it. Tell us about your experience ordering. What should they expect? If you're watching this, what would you say they should expect, when to get it, how quickly you got yours, and what was your delivery day also like?
Yeah, so I initially ordered it around December 2021, waited about 3 months. So again, just picked it up a couple of weeks ago. At the time of filming this, it is March of 2022. Now, I mean, here's the thing. If you're looking at either, usually it's a Model 3, Model Y, the most popular right now, is if you're looking at performance variance, chances are you'll have a little bit less lead time. You can get a little bit faster than some of the, standard options out there. Right now, the last time I checked, you're looking at maybe 6 months or so until September for the standard Model Y, and only maybe 2 months for the Model Y Performance. So, I mean, there was that wait time. For the first month, I didn't really think about it. Second month, I'm starting to get that itch. And of course, the third month, I'm just trying to look for the next steps. As far as the delivery day, pretty smooth. We have our dealership here in Pittsburgh, of course. Of course, everything's on the app. And generally, good experience. And again, pretty smooth at the dealership.
So if you're listening to what Mike just said, he, as a summary, said he ordered in December and you got it in March just recently. And the wait, the short answer, was it worth it? Waiting a few months, is it worth it?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's a premium vehicle. You and I were talking, maybe I could squeeze out an Austin build, the new 4680 batteries. I mean, of course, even now, they're not out yet. So I asked Tesla about that, my advisor, maybe if they had any idea. Of course, they mentioned they didn't have any info on that. But no, mine's a Fremont build, a red Model Y Performance. And it's been great, fit and finish. I know that's another thing that's highly debated, but it's been all good.
That's fantastic. So if you're watching this, you're thinking about, well, that wait time, it's going to be a few months. I think it passes a little more quickly, even though it is a little frustrating waiting, a little more quickly than you might think. So we're going to move on to something that really stuck out to you. And I just want to say, if you are thinking about getting a Tesla, please consider the links in the description for the best accessories, ones that I've used over 10,000 miles. So let's move on. And you mentioned the acceleration, the Tesla famous acceleration. Talk to somebody who's a new, thinking about getting a Tesla. How much different is it? Is it shocking? Is it really worth the hype, so to speak? What do you think about your Model Y Performance acceleration?
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to acceleration, I came from nothing fancy. I came from initially a 2010 Dodge Caliber that I bought new at the time. That's like a 9-second car, I think 0 to 60. And then most recently, a 2015 Volkswagen Passat. I bought that used, and that's basically an 8-second car, 0 to 60. And, I talk about kind of why I wanted the Y Performance specifically. We'll leave a card linked above if you want to see more of that kind of delivery day. But acceleration, it's one of the biggest standouts, especially with the performance. Now, instead of 9-8 seconds, this is a 3.5 second 0 to 60. And I mean, your Model 3, I mean, you're looking at the fours. So it is immediate. Obviously, you get that linear instant torque, and that's partly why you get the Y, pun intended, I guess. It's impressive on the road for sure.
That's great. So if you are looking for that acceleration, obviously the Performance Model 3 or Model Y definitely gives you the maximum boost. I do want to shout out Mike again for being here. Your driver, Mike. Go check out his channel if you are thinking about building up your income on the side gig economy. He teaches all of you folks how to make the most money on your favorite side gig, if it's part-time or full-time. Go check out his channel. Again, your driver, Mike. So you've had some issues, actually. So issues with a Tesla. So, we hear about all kinds of issues, from panel gaps to maybe paint chipping. Tell us about maybe some comments, at least. It might not be huge issues, but pay attention to this with your doors. So what's going on there? And was there any kind of, what did you notice?
Well, for me, I think, you and I are similar, is I'm not obsessing over panel gaps. If there's a small variance, I mean, if it's a, grotesque panel gap, if it's insanely obvious, then sure, I do a service appointment there. But I mean, even with panel gaps, I haven't seen any crazy panel gaps. I think there's maybe one area, if I had to pick out any areas in the back driver's side seats. But again, it's not massive. I don't really care. Paint's been fine. I have that red, of course, that is the most premium. If you're going to be spending $2,000, you want it to be nice. I love it. I don't see any issues, rippling, what have you. So with the doors, it's not panel gaps. What I've noticed, and I've seen this on different videos of, you really need to put some effort to close the doors. I've heard that it might get easier, as it kind of wears in. But like, for instance, today I was driving back home, to our parents' house, and my dad got in the vehicle, and he closed the door and it didn't close all the way. I said, "Hey, you gotta really close it." And one of the first times I actually parked the Tesla here in my apartment is I went actually into my apartment in here, and I checked the Tesla app, and it showed my door was still open because I didn't close it hard. Well, I mean, thankfully Tesla has that really nice app that integrates with your vehicle. It's great. And I had to actually go out and close that door again.
So if you're watching this, obviously that maybe something to get used to. And something else you need to get used to is, especially in the Model 3 and Model Y. So here's something you really want to know. So whenever I first got my Model 3, I pulled up too close to the curb and I have curb rash on my rims. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's just a fancy term, if you will, to scraping your rims against the curb, because a Tesla is a little bit wider than most cars. So again, these are not main huge issues. The door is a little heavier maybe than what you're used to, probably because that's quality, right? I mean, that's because it's a more safe vehicle. It's a heavier, more high quality piece of metal. But let's move on to some of the other finishes. So when you're thinking about getting a Tesla, we want to know over your first impressions. Delivery day, not a deal breaker. Acceleration, absolutely amazing. By the way, the base model rear wheel drive, which is what I have, 5.8 seconds. And it sounds like it's a long time. And Mike's car is 3.5, I think, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. The Model Y Performance, both plenty of acceleration. Talked a little bit about some things to get used to with the doors. What about the finishes? Is it really a luxury feel? I mean, this car is rated as the best EV luxury car out there. Is a Tesla even a luxury car? You don't have to answer that question, but I do want you to answer, do the quality of the materials scream luxury, or is it a lot of hype, or what do you think about the finishes?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about first impressions today. Again, I mean, having driven this car under 400 miles, so I've had it for just a couple of weeks here. I mean, honestly, for the price point, with taxes and fees, it's a $74,000 vehicle. Now, what, 74, 77 after the price increases recently. But to answer the question, like, look, There's vehicles that are made for luxury from legacy automakers that they specialize in luxury. And they frankly have a more, I guess, fancy, intricate is a good word, intricate interior. Mercedes-Benz with their interior lighting is fantastic, their ambient lighting. And, just cluster displays, dials, it looks very impressive. In that case, you could say, hey, these are more luxurious. And sometimes I would agree, with that. But for me, coming from, again, a Dodge Caliber, a very, very base car from the Volkswagen Passat, for me, at that price point, I think it is fair to call it luxury. Now, obviously, that is, again, subjective, but everything from the vegan leather, it's not real animal leather. And I think that's fine. It's certainly fine. And to have the 15-inch touchscreen, we're talking about a vehicle that with that speed, with autopilot, with everything that's done, with all that high technology in a screen, the minimalist interior, a white interior, at least the spec that I chose. And I think, stellar paint. And for me, the 21-inch Uber Turbo, the entire package, I think it's very luxury. And again, for first impressions, I think that was something that really impressed me.
So if I open the door of if you're showing somebody, hey, check out this Tesla that I just got, or you go into the dealership, not really a dealership, it's actually it's a showroom, if you will. They actually have one, a retail showroom, Tesla, at various locations. Ours is in one of the malls here. So if I go and I open the door of a Tesla, am I going to have that wow factor, in your opinion?
Well, it depends on, I guess, what you've seen, what you're used to. Because, again, I've talked to some Tesla owners. It just depends. I had someone tell me they had a Volvo XC90. It's like a $90,000 car, a Mercedes. If you're coming from high-end luxury, then, you know what it looks like. You've done the research. You know what it looks like. Again, we're talking about something very subjective, but I think the overall package, the technology, and what we're dancing around here is a fit and finish. I think it's very nice. I would say it's luxury. I understand there's different classes of luxury, but for me, it feels great and drives great. It's a great vehicle.
I couldn't agree more. It's a great vehicle and it's very exciting. A lot more Model Y and Model 3 content coming very soon, but I do want to talk about this. One of the very unique features of a Tesla. So this is going to be a really part of what you're paying for. So if you're thinking about getting a Tesla, it's extremely safe, if not the safest car on the road. But what about when you're not on the road? What if you park it downtown? What if you park it on the street outside of your house with pedestrians walking by every single night, or you go to a new location on vacation and you're not really sure, well, how secure is my car at night, whenever it happens to be? And we are talking about Sentry mode, one of the proprietary software advantages of a Tesla. So what this does is give you monitoring with all 360 access around the Tesla. So what do you think of Sentry mode? Is it worth it? Do you use it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think about Sentry mode?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Sentry mode. If you're looking at a Tesla, if you're waiting on your Tesla, if you're deciding if I should even order a Tesla, Sentry mode, of course, if you don't know, it uses all of the cameras, the exterior cameras recording simultaneously to, in essence, create an almost camera, force field, if you will, that's always recording. And it's, good peace of mind because of that. Actually, even just today here's the thing with Sentry mode is I have a problem in that it's very sensitive. So if I had a Sentry mode on in my apartment's complex, we have a central main garage that if a vehicle, a person, an object comes too close, it'll indicate that it's recording. It'll flash the headlights, which are very bright, these LED headlights. And, sometimes just cars driving down from different levels or driving up from other levels, just passing the Tesla causes a Sentry event.
Not even a security threat, if you will, just traffic.
Just traffic. And okay. I've had it a lot of times when someone just walks by the car, again, if I'm parked at the gym and someone's just walking right in front of the car, it'll flash the headlights for a Sentry event.
Not a bad thing, it's catching the movement, right? But it is sensitive.
It's catching the movement, but we've talked about does it need to flash the headlights? Now, if you didn't know, if you're watching this, there's kind of different levels to Sentry mode. If someone hits it, then it'll maybe start playing music. And if they're really messing with it, it'll just, blast that music in essence as loud as that vehicle can play it and flash all of the lights. But kind of that level one, if you will, it just, flashes those headlights really quickly. Now, having said that, today, parked at the gym, which is a big parking garage, I captured on Sentry mode someone walking by and actually touching what looked like just touching the hood. And it looked like this individual kind of knew that set off Sentry mode. At least it looks like it was kind of like, hey, like, I don't know. That's just my take on it. So in those circumstances, and frankly, whenever I'm parking out in public and I have Sentry mode on, I'm glad that there's the feature of Sentry mode.
No, I couldn't agree more. Final thoughts on your first impressions. It sounds like you had good first impressions of Sentry mode, albeit it is a little sensitive at times. Again, not a bad thing. Any final thoughts for those watching? First impressions of taking delivery of your Model Y Performance.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot to say. I could, you and I could talk for a whole while about just the vehicle. So certainly, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing because there's a lot to say, pros, cons, accessories, milestone reviews, and more. So definitely subscribe. The real question, if you're thinking about buying any vehicle, is it worth the money? I'm spending, in this case, 74, now 77, at least at the time of filming this video after recent price increases. Is it worth it? So for me, I mean, you're getting all of the tech, everything that's in the screen. I'm sure, some people don't like that, and that's fine. There's other vehicles, but there's the tech in the screen. There is obviously the autopilot, which, I've been using a little bit more and more. I'm still wary of it, of course, as a new driver, but it's, worked perfectly. It's the styling, again, the fit and finish that we talked about, everything, the driving experience, all of the extra features that you get, with the performance, like the aesthetics, the Uber turbine, the carbon fiber spoiler. So all of that, it's a clear yes for me. It's a clear yes that the numbers make sense. And actually, another reason to subscribe is we're going to do a complete financial breakdown of some costs that you might not be aware of when you buy a Tesla, and then my exact financing, etc. But yeah, the short of it is yeah, it's a premium vehicle, but it earns that price tag.
Well, I do agree with that about the price tag and what you're getting for it. We have barely scratched the surface. As Mike said, there's so much content. So if you did hang around at this point in the video, the only way that we know that you like this content is to drop a like. And like Mike said, consider subscribing. And I thank him for being here. So much more Model Y and Model 3 content. This is Matt from Front to Trunk. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Check out those accessories in the description, and we will see you in the next video.